not Thursday, Wednesday, November 25th, 2025. It is the Beating the Book podcast, week number 13 in the National Football League, live from the beautiful Sirius XM studios at the Wynn Las Vegas in the heart of the Strip. Gill Alexander, thanks for tuning in live here on Twitter. And of course, if you're listening to this in podcast form, one of our favorites, if not our favorite guest of the year, on with us here momentarily. First, the two staples of the show from his mom's cork attic somewhere in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, wearing his Drake May jersey, trying to troll me. Todd Wishnev, everybody. How you doing, Todd?
I don't know why you have to say that Brent's our favorite guest. I mean, mine is certainly Bryant Gumbel. I was an AFC guy in the 70s, not NFL Today, watching the Redskins.
Okay. Well, there is that. We haven't had Bryant on quite yet. And then, by the way,
Brent knows I'm just needling him.
T. Wishnev is where you can find Todd for all of his college basketball. And Will Hill, at Not The Will Hill on Twitter, the host of the Shoulda Bet More podcast. What's happening, Willie?
Boys, what's going on? Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. If you're traveling on this Wednesday, the most traveled time of the year, this day. All right, our guest, in case you don't know who we're talking about, he was many things in his career. Let me just give him, in the 15-year anniversary of this podcast, though, first, before we get to his much greater accolades, from MegaPod historian Tim Lawson, he said, this is Brent's 6th appearance on the Beating the Book NFL Megapod. His first episode was week 6 of 2020. Todd was quick to introduce his rendition of the Dolphins song to Brent's amusement. Also in the early 2020 episode, Gill listed the Jets season schedule, including their game against the Rams, and asked, when will this team win? If you know, you know, he says. That's how I lost on Survivor, with the Rams as a 17-point favorite against the Jets. Brent went 2-1 for his best bets on that show, nailed his teaser in his debut. And the VSiN founder, he said, has been moving the chains ever since. Brent Musberger in studio.
Thank you, Gil. Oh, Todd, you hurt my feelings. You know, come on, my man. We covered those Super Bowls with your teams. You know, we had Phyllis. Anyway, great to be with you. What a weekend we've got here.
What a weekend we've got. Before we get into all that,
sure.
This is the part where I know you find this part uncomfortable. But I know from knowing you all these years, and what an honor it's been. VSiN co-founder, of course, is one thing. Most people know you from the NFL Today hosting so many years ago, then from college football at ABC. But you've done all other sports that people don't even remember you've done. U.S. Open tennis, what were we just talking about? Indy 500. You've done everything imaginable. NBA on CBS, for a lot of us, remember as well. And you don't like to talk about that stuff, but I have to ask you now. There was a beautiful NFL Today documentary that was done.
Right.
And that was in tandem, and I want to get the name of the award correctly. We were, Dan Patrick was very instrumental in pushing for this, and you have received this year earlier the Brent Musberger, sort of thing that we all wondered if they would finally give to you, and they did, the 2025 Pete Rozelle Radio and Television Award from the NFL Hall of Fame. So I ask you, sir.
Yes.
Can we now, at this point, appreciate these things that you have done in a way that you were unwilling to do before?
Hey, listen, it's been a great career. I never had to grow up, okay? I just went to the next game, and I loved every minute of it. And my wife, Arlene, somehow has stuck with me for 64 years. She says it's only 32 because I traveled that much. But listen, I want to go back to Pete Rozelle a minute.
Yes.
Pete Rozelle is pretty instrumental in the NFL Today, bringing in Jimmy the Greek, since we're talking about gambling, okay? And I had known Rozelle when he was a front man for the original L.A. Rams. He would travel, and I was a newspaper man. He'd come to Chicago. He'd take me to lunch. And George Hallis would get upset with me because he said, that guy's just picking your brain, Brent. He wants to know what you've seen at practice. So that's how I started with Rozelle. And then I'd run into him all the time at the Kentucky Derby. He and Wellington Mara were close, but so when we brought the Greek in, I said, well, I know that Pete knows something about gambling and maybe he'll appreciate it. And everybody's heard this story before. When we have the meeting with him, it's a great, great meeting. He welcomes Jimmy the Greek. As we get up to leave, he says, gentlemen, I want one favor. What is it, Commissioner? Or a favor? That's an order. Will you please not use -3 +7 -10, whatever? Oh, yes, sir, Commissioner. We won't do. And that's how we came up with the checkboard.
Yes.
Greek. So we went from there.
And so you'd speak in a code, right? If the Raiders were 7-point favorites, you would say, "I've got the Raiders by a good amount."
Speaking of the Raiders,
Yes.
we never went on the air with Jimmy the Greek without him conferring with Mr. Al Davis. Okay.
Really?
They were the closest of buddies. Okay. Al was always, it's amazing. His son brought the Raiders into Vegas. Al was always fascinated with gambling and the city of Las Vegas. And he was a great friend.
This is so impossible to even, it's not even right of me to ask this question of you.
Man, I may not answer, but
Well, ask the question.
No. Let me ask Ben first, Todd, and then we'll go to you. But I just, of all the things that you have done, and it's so many. Maybe it's like asking you to pick between your children here at some point. But is there something that you hold up, a memory or a job or just a period of time that you view the most fondly of all of it?
Well, it has to be the NFL today in the 70s. The huge growth of the National Football League started then and roared through the 80s. We were blessed with the right markets. The Giants got good. Bears got great. Cowboys were always competitive. I'm not sure there would have been a Brent Musberger doing all this without the NFL today. So I have to end. Listen, working alongside Phyllis and Irv, who I'd gone to Northwestern with, and then, of course, the Greek joining us, it meant a lot to me and the family.
Yeah. And I don't know if you remember this, and Todd, you will go to your question next, but before, I know Tim Lawson, the MegaPod historian, just said this is your 6th MegaPod appearance, but when VSiN first started,
right,
I used to come and do weekends with you sometimes on Saturday.
Right.
And you were kind enough to do a podcast with me that was just me and you going through your history, the fight with Jimmy the Greek, Eminem in the booth, all these different things. So I just thank you so much for being generous enough to do that with me that early on.
Oh, yeah. It was great. Somebody once asked me, Brent, why didn't you do a book? And I said, you just don't have nuances with books. In other words, I'd rather sit and tell you the anecdotes. I can laugh when I laugh, and the fight with the Greek and everything that went down in that era. I love telling stories to people.
Yeah, I'll have to repost that because it's just tremendous. Todd, what were you going to say?
My question is more of a technical question for Brent. We all know that many, actually, probably a lot of people don't know that in the late 70s, the NBA didn't even have the championship on live TV. It was on tape delay. So Brent used to say, "You are looking live." In that case, did he say, "You are looking tape delayed at the Lakers against
Todd, I always took the word live out.
Oh,
you are looking at the Boston Garden. Where tonight it's the Los Angeles Lakers and the Boston Celtics. Magic Johnson has been moved to center. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, that kind of thing.
Yes.
But I never said live.
Yeah. But were you the one who did those games that were tape delayed, those finals games?
I did, and it bothered me. But Mr. Paley, who owned Lock, Stock, and Barrel, simply explained it to me this way. Brent, you can't beat our prime time. I don't care where we put the NBA live. Our prime time rules. We will continue with tape delay. Yes, Mr. Paley. Yes, sir, Mr. Paley. And that's
he ran CBS at the time.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I always say, Todd, to your question, when the Washington Bullets won the NBA championship in 1978, Sports Illustrated ran the story on page 75.
Right.
Like you can go back and it was horrific in those days.
Well, younger people don't know that the NBA was saved by Magic and Bird. And prior to that, in the late 70s, it was not a super popular sport in America.
And the series that Gill's talking about was a sweep. And we finished in San Francisco, okay? And Rick Barry was dominant.
Oh, in 75.
75.
Yes.
75.
Yeah,
That's
75.
Okay. Yeah. And that in the NBA, and I believe this is still true today, none of our pro leagues are pushed as hard by major markets as the NBA. And what I'm saying is the NBA thrives when the Celtics are good, when the Sixers are good, when the Knicks are good in the East, and then, of course, Let us not overlook what Michael Jordan did in Chicago. And out west, you simply must have the Lakers competitive, okay? The reason why, Todd mentioned it, okay, that we had Magic coming from Los Angeles and we had Bird coming from Boston. That's it. When you get major markets like that in the NBA, and that's not true of the Super Bowl. That's not true at all. You can have any two teams and you're going to get a great audience for a Super Bowl. But the NBA is city driven, and there are a half dozen in the NBA that rule, and that's still true today.
And then the Lakers Celtics rivalry is why they changed to a 2-3-2 format in the finals because of the travel, right? They were so perennially great that they were like, why are we doing this 2-2-1-1-1 thing anymore?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also, I had a little hand in that. The commissioner came and talked about the press would drop off. They wouldn't travel with us back and forth. And I said, well, if you go to the 2-3-2, they'll definitely sit for the 3. And then you go to 6 and 7 back, you got a chance to get them.
Yeah.
So that also contributed to that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And now, of course, we're back to 2-2-1-1-1 after all these years.
They've come back to it because there were complaints about it.
Well, and also because there's other teams that make it now, and so it doesn't, not a Boston.
Hello, Oklahoma City. I'm looking at you. And hey, listen, the Seattle Supersonics, that was the original Thunder, and they won the championship. Listen, Lenny Wilkins just passed away. What a great guy. He was
Sonics,
wonderful to deal with.
Sonics beat the Bullets the next year in '79 after the Bullets beat them. Will Hill, who's on the show with us, Will has a bet. Will, explain your Oklahoma City Thunder bets to Brent.
Oklahoma City, I have a number of different bets, over 62.5, over 66.5, 70+ wins. But the one that I'm attached to emotionally, 23-1 for Oklahoma City to break the all-time wins record and win 74+ games. Playing tonight to go to 18-1. Cleaning the Glass it's actually kind of like Fanatic, what's it called? Fangraph for the NBA. Actually has them projected a little over 74 wins. So sweating out every one of these Oklahoma City Thunder games.
You know what I love a bet like that, because it really attaches you to a regular season. You get a little boring sometimes. But if you've got action on this one team, Gill and I just talked about baseball and how much we love the World Series. Regular season drags on and on and on. So I had the Cubs to win the division, got run down by Milwaukee, had the Dodgers to win it all, and of course I'm able to follow that. I recommend for fans who love a little action, a little pizza action, get attached to a team like Will did, okay, to Oklahoma City. And you got your team for the season. That's the way to do it.
Yeah. And the other thing, too, from a betting perspective, you learn so much by just following one team. Like, I'm tracking them closely. So the other night, they played the Blazers, and they were laying 15-16. I didn't bet it, but I know they lost. Their one game was to the Blazers where they blew a 22-point lead. I said, man, I probably should have bet the Thunder. It was during football, so it just kind of got lost. But you pick up these things where, all right, they'll probably play well because they blew that one game to Portland. They led by 22. They're going to be out for revenge, and they won by 30. So if you're just tracked in on one team, you gain so much from following them. You just gain so much information. You're going to do much better betting, I think.
Agreed.
For anybody who did not see the NFL Today documentary, please seek it out. It is really, for those of us of a certain age who...
what channel is it on?
We're reared. That's what I'm looking at right now, Todd, to figure it out. But nice of you to interrupt while I check for it.
It's one thing that you give a promo to a thing, you don't even have the channel. I mean, that's mediocre broadcasting at its best.
This guy. NFL Doc is available on, let's see, How to Watch You Are Looking Live. It was originally on the Sunday, but I don't know exactly where it is right now. I would have to do some more Googling of that. Paramount Plus, I believe, is where you can find that. Paramount Plus should be where it's available currently. But it's well worth your time. A really fantastic retrospective on everything. All right, Todd, to the day at hand. Record update, please, sir. What do you got?
We have Gilly the Iceman cometh with a huge half game pickup last week when he went 2-1. He was incredibly fortunate in the under in the Bills game. Somehow it stayed under and he took that one home. He was incredibly unfortunate in the Philadelphia Eagles game as he had that one in the bag and somehow the Eagles gacked that one away. So he moves to a 17-19 on the year. His teasers moved to 5-7. By the way, all our teasers have really picked up. Even Will Hill, who leads the board with teasers, Will Hill had an outstanding 1-1-1 record last week to go to 9-25-2, and he moves to 7-5 with teasers. He's been outstanding with teasers all year. I am still the leader with my 1-1-1 at 17-16-3. That puts me 3 games ahead in the loss column over Gilly's 17-19. I am 5-7 teasers, and Brent has a lot of pressure because the guest seat went 3-0 last week behind Rufus to go 15-1 and 6-6 on teasers. So the pressure is on for Brent to keep it going.
Oh, mercy.
Wow, we've had 2 3-0s in a row from the guest seat, right? Kelly Bidlin before that as well, 3-0, followed by Rufus at 3-0. So that is a big shoes to fill, as they say. All right. By the way, I was not fortunate with that under. I was unfortunate and then got fortunate is really what happened in that game. Short fields. What else happened in there that also that went against me? Like it was lucky in the end, but it was an unfortunate set of circumstances that even made it that way.
By the way, the Bear Chris Felica deserves a little bit of a shout out / blame. It's a no. He said Gilly's best bet, and this was it was 21-0. He declared it a winner. What a great call! Unbelievable, rocking chair winner. I said easy. I mean, I'm not rooting for Gill to win either. We're all competitive here, but to me that's a no. Bear, I don't know, $50 fine, something. We'll have to
he summoned Hashem. No. You do not summon Hashem and tell him you're winning. You keep quiet until the end. I'm sure Brent knows this. Brent doesn't go around when he has a good pick with 10 minutes left in the game and go, "Oh, I won that one." He's been around long enough to know you call it at the end of the game when there's an F next to the score. Even on the old NFL Today, where they had those little boards with the thing, when it was final, it said F.
Summoned Hashem, he says, by the way. Summoned Hashem.
You know, it's kind of interesting. Todd should say that because I thought he was watching NBC and not CBS.
That's exact.
I was watching Brian. And that was in the old days. We had the Steelers, Brent. What was I supposed to do? We couldn't watch. We had to watch. It was the Steelers. What do you want from us?
Yeah, Mr. Rooney. You know, he saved the NFL when he said, "Okay, I'll go to the AFC." You know, that's basically how that went down. He was such a good guy. That's how people are in
Pittsburgh, Brent. We're selfless. We do things for the team. We're not like those Montana bigwigs.
Brent from the top rope getting you back on the Brian Gumbel thing. I like it. All right, Dumbo of the week, before we get to the picks. Dumbo of the week. Which coaching maneuver do we find to be the most curious or dumbest of the week, if you will?
I texted you guys one that I was so angry about. Which was that? I intentionally
Gannon. You hated Gannon. You hated the Gannon thing.
Gannon, what are you doing? I don't think I've ever seen this. Brent, you tell me if you've ever seen this. A team has 3 timeouts left. Okay, it's 1:54 to go in the game. You're down 3, I believe. It's 4th and 12 from your own 28 or something. You have 3 timeouts. You can't make it on 4th and 12. Punt the ball, get a stop, get the ball back. Don't go for it. That's absurd. Now, they got away with it because of the idiocy of the other team. But I don't think I've ever seen that before. Have you guys ever seen a team go for 4th and 12 with 3 timeouts and 1:54 left?
Yeah, the actual situation is exactly what Todd said. It was 24-21 Jacksonville, Arizona 4th and 12 at their own 28. All 3 timeouts at their disposal. 2:07 left. They go for it and fail on a Brissett incompletion. Jacksonville took over the Arizona 28. They ended up with a 4th and 1, where if they get the yard, the game is then over. They failed to get the yard because Lawrence then was incomplete, intended for Patrick. Arizona then did get the ball back at their own 20 with 1:40 left, eventually forced overtime, eventually lost in overtime.
Is that the game, Todd, where Gannon Brissett did not spike the ball, ran up and called a play and was incomplete in the end zone?
I believe so.
I think you're talking about after. That was after this whole episode.
And when the receiver caught a ball with the clock running, it started showboating and spitting the ball. Right. It's like you only had a couple of plays left. That was a bizarre sequence too.
But I'm still not. Go ahead, Gilly.
Go ahead, Ted.
I'm still.
No. I was going to say.
What'd you say?
You go.
I'm still angry at Gannon in the DeMarcado game and the interception fumble game. And it was 1st down. He runs the ball. Then on 2nd and 8, he runs the ball. And 3rd and 8, he runs the ball, allowing Tennessee to win that game. I'm still mad at that idiot. It's the same idiot. That same idiot did this. I mean, what is going on? And I just don't even understand it. Have you guys ever seen that?
Yeah, there was a lot of interesting things. This is not Dumbo of the week, but this is. Did you notice that the Browns were up 2 touchdowns on the Raiders
and punted? Yeah.
And they punted at the plus 29
Never
yard
seen
line.
that before.
That I've never seen before. And that was, I guess that's, we don't trust Shedeur at all. Yeah. So let's just punt here.
That's why it didn't even bother me.
I was at the game, and yes, surprised. But I will tell you, overall, I was impressed with how the coaches handled Shedeur. Okay, they planned going inside the 10-yard line. We get him off the field. You got smaller windows, and you got to make quicker judgments. And they ran the football against the Raiders down inside the 10. They kept it very, very simple. And the one thing we did know about Shedeur, and he showed it, he does have an arm downfield, and he had a 53-yard completion setting up a touchdown. His last touchdown pass was just bad defense on the part of the Raiders. Simple screen pass, 60-some yards for a touchdown. That was one game that I loved, and not so much because of Shedeur, but because of how bad the Raiders are and have been. We'll see what they do without Chip Kelly as the offensive coordinator. Olsen, who I know because when I was broadcasting the games, he was working alongside John Gruden. And so Olsen will come and try to run the ball. He'll try to shorten this game this Sunday against the Chargers. And I would say beware of the 10 because, yes, Chargers are going to win the game. Okay, but beware of that number because of what the Raiders plan to do with Olsen as the offensive coordinator. But I listen, hats off to how the Browns handled Shedeur, okay? They made it as simple as possible and said, Myles Garrett, sick him. 10 sacks. Okay, think about that for a minute. 10 sacks, 3 by him.
Brent, do you think Gruden gets another shot? I know you were close with him. Do you think he gets another shot, whether it's college or the NFL? He's great broadcasting. He's got a lot of personality. I just don't know, if he'll get another shot.
I'll tell you, Will, he has a wonderful personality.
Yeah.
If I was John, I'd stay in broadcasting. First of all, the Raiders never should have allowed the NFL to push them to fire him, okay? Those emails were leaked by somebody deliberately to go after John. But yes, great personality, great to be around. Profane, as we found out in those emails, but that's John. That's his personality. If anybody thinks he's the only profane coach in the National Football League, have I got a memo for you? Okay, that's how this league operates with these guys. They like to clean it up and it's all nice, good. No, it's not. It's hard. It's hardcore business, baby, and it's not easy in the National Football League.
Yeah, I don't know. John Gruden caught up in the Daniel Snyder investigation?
Yep.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen John Gruden open merchandise from college teams on Twitter? He makes opening a box from a college team exciting. He'll go, oh, look what we got here from the Arkansas Redhawks. Oh, my gosh. He's like, open it up. He's like, look at this. I got a sweatshirt. We got these shoes. It's really kind of funny.
I know this is high praise, but he's got a little Madden in him just because he's so unique. He's got just a quirky, intense personality. I mean, I don't know if he would stay in broadcasting, but he is really good doing that stuff.
Let's do the end game before we get to the bets here, Todd. Any end game real quick?
Just I've had some success with these third quarters. Some places, not many places have them, but some places have these team total third quarters. So you can basically, if your team, let's say you have a team that stinks, can't move the ball at all, and they're not getting the ball first coming out of halftime, and the team they're playing is running plodding long drives, often the other team is not going to get more than one drive, one chance to score any points. And you can bet either under 3.5 team total third quarter sometimes. You can sometimes they only have it at 2.5, if it's a really bad team. And so, we've been having some success with those.
Those ties are good too, Toddy.
And Willie is the king of the ties. He just loves those third quarter ties, and he was knocking them down at plus 300, plus 340. Of course, we got screwed in the Carolina Panther game. That was a perfect example. I had Carolina Panthers not to score third quarter plus 210. They have the ball at the 30-yard line with 47 seconds left in the third quarter. All I have to do is one more play, tackle, it's done. Of course, Young throws in the end zone, they get a touchdown. But in general, you have to look for those because those are nice.
They hung a 6-1 on Rams Bucks too in that third quarter, thinking Baker probably be all right. There'll be some scoring. Then nobody scored in that quarter. That one did too.
Where are these available?
DraftKings has them. It's you go third quarter 3-way market. I don't know where they are other places, but some of the faraway places, we like to say, Gil, we have them too.
Some of us are trapped in Nevada and don't have it in our faraway places necessarily. All right, to the best bets. Let's do this.
My
Brent?
first one is Miami of Ohio over first half 72.5. That's currently running right now. Can I do that?
No.
Oh, okay.
Brent, you have honors. Your first best bet of the weekend. I guess we should do it.
Yeah.
Normally we do
it.
Normally we do it. If anybody has something in Thursday Night Football, we should probably do it this way. Are any of your best bets in Thanksgiving or Friday?
Yes.
Okay. Let's start with one of those.
Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to take a gamble with the Cowboys plus 3.5. Okay. Jerry Jones faced all that criticism for trading Micah Parsons to the Packers, but we should start giving him some credit for acquiring Keenan Williams from the Jets. Since joining the Cowboys, okay, Williams leads the entire National Football League in NFL pressures and pass rush win rate, okay? Now, the Chiefs are showing up without all-pro guard Trey Smith. That's going to make it even more difficult against them, against the middle of that front, okay? And if you look at it this way, since Williams joined the Cowboys, they are only allowing 18.5 points a game and 45 rushing yards a game. He has simply turned around that defensive front. And in effect now, Jones traded Parsons for defensive tackles Kenny Clark and Keenan Williams, kept the Packers' number one choice next year. This is going to try being a hell of a trade on the part of Jerry. And I'm going to take him at home. It's a tough turnaround on a 3-day. The Chiefs are coming off a big overtime victory against the Colts. So I want the Cowboys on Thanksgiving plus 3.5.
Is that the number that you guys have?
Do we have 3.5s available?
I have 3.5 because that's one of my plays too. So I do have 3.5. Yes.
It is 3.5.
Brent, 3.5 with Cowboys.
Jerry certainly looks good here in the short term, doesn't he? He's got to feel great about himself right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and he kept saying, we all made fun of him, including me. We got to stop the run. We've got to stop the run. That's why come on, Jerry, you want to get on the quarterback. Well, listen, as it turns out, when you look at what Keenan Williams has done, they have stopped the run, and that's allowed them to stay on there much better defensively than they were before. And Wilson's been that's a linebacker they got from Cincinnati, and he's been decent. He's a kid from Wyoming, I believe. And
Overshown's back. That kid's a good player.
Yeah, and Dak Prescott. And by the way, let's not forget Pickens.
Oh, he's awesome.
Pickens. Great.
Pickens, I mean, he's been better than C.D. Lamb over the last couple of seasons. He's got the bobbles and likes to drink up at Red Rocks in my neighborhood. It's a pretty funny story. Pretty funny. But at any rate, and maybe there's one thing I didn't realize that Mahomes had never played in AT&T Stadium. And as he grew up, down there in Texas, and I'm sure he's got fond memories of following the teams down there. I'm sure he played there in college, but he's never played as a Kansas City Chief.
Okay.
Which is interesting.
Brent's on the Cowboys plus 3.5. You guys have anything on Thanksgiving games?
I took Dallas. I like Dallas too as one of my 3.
One of your 3.
For all the reasons Brent mentioned, as long as Dallas can just get to average defensively, that is a legitimately elite offense. And Pickens was a guy we talked about before the season where Pittsburgh was a run-heavy team. They're playing outdoors. They're playing with lousy quarterbacks. I thought he could pop at Dallas, and you look at his stats. Not only his yards, he's way up there top of the league. He's drawn, I believe, the most pass interference yardage, too. And the Chiefs, how many times have we seen this with Mahomes and Reed? They win the game, but they don't cover. They win by a field goal. If they're down 10, if the Cowboys are down 10 late, back door is certainly open. So I love getting the hook here. I think it closes 3 in most spots. Although, as I mentioned on a numbers game today, Thanksgiving, usually a lot of public action, a lot of kind of people betting the favorites. People are home, they're on their couch, they're betting. That recreational action usually drives the favorites up, but I like getting the 3.5 here with Dallas.
Brent, did you have anything else on Thanksgiving or Friday, or are those the only
I have
one?
Black Friday.
You have Black Friday. I have 2 on Thanksgiving Day myself. Todd, you any on Thanksgiving?
One on Thanksgiving.
What's your Thanksgiving?
My Thanksgiving is, what do you have for the Lions and Packers side and total, please?
Listen to this guy.
Depends on
Lions minus 2.5. Lions minus 2.5, and the total is 48.5.
Okay, I am going to go under 48.5 in the Lions game. I took very good note of that first game of the year when the Packers shut down the Lions running game and made Mr. Goff look a little ridiculous, because if he can't run the ball, by the way, the most overrated quarterback in football, I'm sorry about this Mr. Goff guy, okay? If everything isn't perfect, he's like the Goldilocks guy, right? Everything has what's the Little Red Riding Hood? It just has to be just right. Everything has to be just right for Mr. Goff to get everything going. Yeah, sure. Hand the ball to Gibbs, hand the ball to Montgomery for 6 yards of carry, and anyone can hit Amon St. Brown across the middle for 55 yards. Anybody can do it. Okay? Anybody can do it. But you give him a little trouble, as we've seen now here, as he doesn't have his little blankie, Mr. Johnson, being the offensive coordinator anymore. That now they have an offensive coordinator who sells Applebee's wings, or I'm going to run the plays. No, you run the plays. No, I'm going to run the plays. No, you run the plays. I'm sorry. This is not the same Lions anymore, okay? And I just don't buy it. I think the Packers defense is going to be it's a pretty good defense, and I think they can hold the Lions down. And on the other side of the ball, Green Bay goes on these long, protracted drives. Oh, my God, so non-explosive. So, you know what? Under 48.5, I see a rip-roaring divisional knock-em-out, drag-em-out type of ball game. Final score 23-20 or something. Give me under 48.5 in the Lions.
Let me follow up on what Todd just said. At Circa, and I love them when they do this because there's always a grand salami in the hockey, but they have put out a grand gobbler for Turkey Days on the over/under. Okay, the grand gobbler. All right, the Lions game that Todd talked about, their over/under is 49 this morning. Dallas 52.5 with the Chiefs. Baltimore 51.5 with, the Bengals. So just for laughs and giggles, the grand gobbler, I took under 152.5.
There it is.
And I'm so happy to hear what Todd just said, because that could make my grand gobbler pay for my turkey tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
152 under for Brent on the grand gobbler at Circa. I got 2 on Thanksgiving. I'm going Bengals. I'll do these out of order. I'll do Bengals +7 at the Ravens. This is, of course, Joe Burrow's return. Don't know what we'll get from Joe Burrow. I hope for the best here, obviously, though. Jamar Chase is back after the 1-game suspension. T. Higgins is still concussed, so he will not go. Trey Hendrickson will not go. By the way, Aaron Schatz has the Bengals defense as the worst defense per DVOA since 1978 in the DVOA era. I get that.
Wait, the worst ever?
The worst ever since 1978. This Bengals defense he has. The worst ever.
Wow.
But I don't think, listen, when the Ravens were 1-5, I was one of the people saying they're going to win the division. I'm not so sure they're going to win the division anymore. And they have shown nothing in this 5-game winning streak to inspire that much confidence in me that they should be 7-point favorites here. Lamar Jackson now, after an ankle injury, after a knee injury, after a hamstring injury, he now has a toe injury. I just think he is so banged up. He's a shell of himself. Bengals +7 for me in the third of the 3 games. In the first game, Detroit and Green Bay, I'm taking the Lions minus the 2.5. I bet this already. Also, both of these are bets in the account earlier in the week. I like the Lions minus 2.5. I think they are the better football team of the two here. I think a lot of this is the reason they're below 3 is I think people perceive their win over the Giants in overtime as, wow, they barely got back they really got by this really crappy football team. Whereas I think the Packers blowout win of the Vikings is viewed as, look, they really crushed this kind of okay team. And I don't view it that way. I actually think that the Giants are more live than the Vikings these days. And I think that's the reason why it's below 3. I'm not big into revenge spots, but I do think that the Lions remember that beatdown at the hands of the Packers the very first week of the year. Dan Campbell is very aware of that. I like the Lions minus 2.5 in the opener tomorrow. Will is dying over there. Why?
No, I thought about using the Lions as my third one too. And when you said the Giants are more live than the Vikings, just like a dagger through me because I have no defense. I can't come back. It wasn't that long ago. We're sitting there. Vikings are 14-2 going into the final week, 1 win away from the 1 seed. Who knows? Maybe you make a run to the Super Bowl, and now they're just as irrelevant and mediocre as ever. Just painful. What a bad relationship I have with this football team. What am I getting out of this?
Yeah. What am I getting out of this? Max Brosmer's the Vikings starting quarterback this week, but that's another matter. Brent, you said you had a Black Friday pick.
Yeah, this time of year we can always pick out a team and we say fool's gold, okay? And I'm looking at you, Chicago. The Bears, yes, they're 8-3. They have only beaten one team currently over 500. And that was the Pittsburgh Steelers last Sunday without quarterback Aaron Rodgers. And if you look at the scoring and the points allowed, the Bears have a negative 3-point differential. That's unheard of for a team with an 8-3 record. Now, I know you're gambling a bit on the Eagles because one loss can become 2. Dick Vermeil always preached this. Do not let one loss become 2. And that's what the Eagles face after blowing that game down in Dallas. But I'm going to take the Eagles -7 on Black Friday because I simply think the Chicago Bears are fool's gold.
Yep. And this is where the tough part of their schedule begins, too.
Right.
Bet them +155 to miss the playoffs yesterday. I did. That's a good call. That's a good call from Vermeil, too. I like that. Don't let one loss become 2.
He preached it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think those are 2 picks for everybody except for Toddy, who has 1.
No,
so
Todd
has
1. It's my turn.
Will and
I didn't use Detroit.
I just want to say one thing about the Yinzers. Brent, he brought up Pickett. And I'll tell you, people down at the sports book don't like that trade at all. They're saying we should have kept that receiver in that. And it was just a bad. We got a 3rd rounder. Have Yins ever gotten a 3rd rounder for a superstar in that? That's trouble. I'll tell you right now, trouble with a capital T. And I'll tell you one other thing that I agree with old Brent about. When I go down there, I think about it. I say, the Steelers had Mason Rudolph down there at quarterback, and he was moving the ball. Mason Rudolph? Are you kidding me? I can't stand this guy, and I'm a Yinzer myself. Give me a break. The Bears haven't beaten nobody.
Todd just wanted to impress you with his Pittsburgh accent.
I loved it.
Yes.
I love it, man. I love the people from Pittsburgh. Whenever we have a game here in Vegas, or you watch when we were in Oakland, or you watch the games in LA, I think the Steeler fan base might travel better than any fan base that I can think of. The Cowboys came in strong, but this was their first regular season game in Allegiant, and we had a lot of them on that Monday night game. But listen, Steeler fans all over. Once a Steeler, always a Steeler.
Yeah.
You're a fan.
I wonder, do they travel well, or they just have migrated in so many different places that they just exist everywhere?
I think a little of both.
Yeah.
I think here, and one of the great draws is visiting Vegas, staying for a weekend, and going to Allegiant Stadium. And listen, it's a terrible football team. I'm not going to defend them, but it's a wonderful stadium experience.
Yes.
None better in the National Football League. The music's great, the stage up there, and foreign fans come in, and they love it. They say, next time we come, we'll be here.
Okay, so this is a perfect question to ask you.
Sure.
Brief aside before we get back to the picks. Obviously, hockey, huge success here. The Raiders, in an adopted son kind of way. If the Golden Knights are the biological son, the Raiders are the adopted son. That has worked beautifully. We all expect the NBA to work beautifully if it ever came here. Will baseball work here, Brent?
In my opinion, yes. people don't realize how many Little League programs, successful Little League programs we've got around this city. Up in Summerlin Vista Park, I drive by it in the evening when I'm going someplace. The lights are on. We got both fields, even in off baseball season. We've had major leaguers come out of here. Bryce Harper among them, Maddox, another one.
Chris Bryant, too, I think, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Chris Bryant, yeah.
Huge baseball. Now, because I live on the west side, I'm not particularly happy with where they put the stadium, but I understand why MGM wanted it over there and the walking bridges, and it'll be a little bit of an effort for us locals to get there. From the west side of Vegas, Allegiant Stadium is great, and even for concerts. My son, Blake, took me to AC/DC, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
I've never seen a guitar player that old who just paraded around. I said, man, it was unbelievable.
Were you a fan of theirs?
Not particularly. I mean, I knew their sound, a little bit.
Sound.
I'm more a George Strait guy, being like this, so I went to see him.
All right.
And he was awesome. And he did the little Trump dance at the end,
Oh, that's awesome. Where did George Strait play when he was in town?
At Allegiant.
At Allegiant?
He usually plays at T-Mobile for the rodeo.
Yeah.
Okay. But they took him over to Allegiant, and it was spectacular.
Does he fill Allegiant Stadium?
He filled it.
Come on.
We had 65,000.
For George Strait?
Yeah.
Wow.
George Strait's huge. The king, right?
Yeah, he's the king.
The king.
All my exes live in Texas. And that's why I live in Nashville, Tennessee.
That's right. I have a vivid memory as a child of watching like the American Music Awards or Grammys, whatever it was. And George Strait was nominated for All My Exes Live in Texas. And Stevie Wonder just dying laughing.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Because he just thought that was the most clever thing in the world. All right, Toddy, what's next? What do you got?
I'm going to go down to the Vikings game. And I believe the total is 41. Is that right?
41 it is.
Yeah. Now, I know you got a different starting quarterback in Minnesota with Brosmer, but I mean, who does it really matter who plays quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings? I mean, Will Hill's team is just an epic disaster. I see this as a typical Seattle Seahawks game that we've seen all year long. Seattle gets up big early, just keeps throwing to Smith-Njigba 8,000 times. He goes for like 7 catches and 4,000 yards in the first half. They're winning 31-3 at the half. And then it's just garbage time, and they let old Max Brosmer get a little backdoor touchdown action at the end. And, you get your typical Seattle blowout win, 38-10 or something. So give me over 41 in the Seattle Seahawks against the Minnesota Vikes. I think we've seen this exact Seattle game a million times this year. And, that's usually what happens. Seattle just goes up big early. It gets ugly. And then you get your fourth quarter garbage nonsense touchdowns. Over 41 Seattle.
Over 41. Thought you were going the other way on that. Willie?
I'm going to go back to them, I believe, for the 4th week in a row. One team that's actually been kind to me here. The New York Jets plus 2.5 against the Falcons. This is hard to believe. We are at Thanksgiving, literally at Thanksgiving. They have not recorded an interception. They have recovered 18% of all possible fumbles. Last week, I had them plus, 13.5 against the Ravens. And I actually thought up with a lead in the second half. I actually thought they weren't going to cover, and Baltimore came close to what would have been an undeserving cover, because if you look at the stats, Jets outgained them yards per play. They're not that horrible. They're due for a couple of bounces of the ball to go their way with the turnovers. And it's Todd's buddy, Curtis Cousins, as we like to call him, on the road, outdoors, maybe some shaky weather here. I'll take the Jets plus 2.5.
Jets are the first team in the history of the NFL to go their first 11 games without recording an interception.
I will make a bold prediction. I think that changes this week. Kirk Cousins is just the guy to change that.
Just the guy to do it. By the way, the record is 14 games in a row. Last year's Niners went 14 straight games without a pick.
Oh, wow.
But the Jets are the first ever 11 to start the season without an interception. Final best bet. Brent, we go to you.
Well, I'm going to go to a Sunday game, and Indiana Jones was great at the start of the season, but he's becoming Daniel Jones again when you watch the Colts. I mean, in the fourth, the meltdown against the Chiefs, 2 of 8 for 13 yards in that fourth quarter. Now, I have watched the Texans, okay? And I want to tell you, this might be the best overall defense in the league, okay? And I think it is good enough. Obviously, the Colts are getting a little uneasy about Jones. They're going to try to run the football. Jonathan Taylor having a great, great year. And I think that Texans defense is good enough to keep him under control, okay? Davis Mills, no, he's not C.J. Stroud, but it's been interesting watching him. He's come on. He's gotten better as the game progresses, and he doesn't lose the game. He doesn't make a lot of horrendous mistakes. So you're getting plus 4.5. Is that still correct? The line?
Yes.
That's what I got it at early this week. And I'm going to take them on the road against the Colts. And I would say to everybody in that division, beware the Texans. They're not quite finished yet. It's a game on defense for me, so I want the Texans.
4.5 across the board. Texans right now, C.J. Stroud still in concussion protocol, but trending upwards, they say. I don't know what that means in concussion protocol, but...
Now, what that means is they want Mills to start again.
That's what it sounds like, a little bit of that. By the way, we had a comment on Twitter, Todd, which you'll appreciate. This is from, which you, by appreciate, I mean you won't appreciate. This is from Buck Dancer. Buck Dancer, is that his great name? Who says... the legend Brent Musberger, but all I see is the cork attic with Todd. There you go. Less Todd is what he's saying. More Brent.
Well, did he like over 72.5 in the first half, Miami of Ohio? Buck, you jerk off.
Jeez. He said, Brent is a legend, but all I see is the beautiful cork attic. Does that change your opinion of him? He says the beautiful cork attic.
It's 42-32, Buck. That's 74. Over, bitch.
74 is more than 72, I believe, by my math.
Yes.
Is that correct? Todd, you're next. What's next? Last one.
You know, I like, I just want to say I like Brent's picks because back in the 1970s, I'm sure Brent didn't know much about football back in those days, but they used to say defense wins championships. You remember that one, Brent?
Yeah.
Do you remember when they used to talk about that? But
and it travels.
It does travel. That's right. You know what? Who's quarter? First of all, who is it? Brent? Is it Mayfield? According to this line, it has to be Mayfield not starting. Correct? If it's 2.5, it cannot possibly be Mayfield. Am I right that we're?
I think it's an in-between line with Bridgewater, more likely.
It is a pain-tolerant situation for Mayfield, right? Because it's a low-grade sprain to the non-throwing shoulder. So it's just he's never missed a start as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer.
I'm going to say that the betting community knows what it's doing by putting 2.5 for Teddy Two Gloves. Last we saw him, I believe he was coaching high school football, and he did not really impress me in a garbage time role against the Rams. Now the Cardinals are going to get 2.5 against Teddy. I don't know. This Cardinal team is a little bit feisty. And if they don't have Mayfield, I think this team falls apart. Look, they've been suffering injuries all year long. Go ahead, Brent. What were you going to say? It looks like you were going to.
I'm going to say, wait a minute. You spent almost the entire show putting Gannon down. You're going to climb aboard a guy who makes that many mistakes as a coach?
You know, you're making a great point, Brent, but he's due to not make a mistake this week, right?
I think he's due to get fired. Okay.
Yeah.
I think he's on the hot seat list. I have to tell you that. I think they're also going to find a way to replace Kyler Murray. So be careful with that one.
Well, thank God, Todd, that somebody's here to check you on your bullshit, if you know what I mean.
What bullshit did I say? First of all, the Cardinals are going to cover games even if you coach, Gilly. Every team in the National Football League covers games, even with the worst coach. The Tennessee Titans cover games, okay? So now I agree with what Brent's saying. I'm not going to say he's wrong. Obviously, I can't stand the coach. But on the other hand, Teddy Two Gloves is the quarterback? I mean, this is not for real. The guy's 500 years old. I just can't even believe that this is a quarterback in the National Football League. You know, it's one thing Flacco. Okay, Flacco, he goes back to pass. He can't move. He can at least throw the ball. Teddy looked like he was donezo. I mean, I'm no NFL scout, but it was total prevent defense, and he couldn't even move them even a tiny bit. To me, that's embarrassing.
If I told you that Baker Mayfield is going to play, would you say No bet?
Oh,
Would you come off that?
No, of course I'm not betting. No,
please wait, because Baker Mayfield has not been declared out. Okay.
Okay, you know what? You guys are talking me out of my pick.
Gamer, man. He's a gamer.
You're talking me out of my pick. Go skip to somebody else. I'm coming up with a new third pick. You guys talked me out of it. Okay.
You ever see Annie Hall when Woody Allen pulls Marshall McLuhan from behind the curtain to tell these people arguing in the movie line? I've heard what you've said. Nothing you say makes any sense. I want to have Brent on every megapod just to come out from behind the curtain to tell you all your picks are terrible.
Okay, you know what? I'll go with my fourth pick, which was going to be. It's just to stick it to my friend Gilly Ice. I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos on Sunday Night Football, minus 5.5. If in doubt, if Brent destroys your third pick, always look for the Redskins and look to bet against them, because that team, my friends, is a joke. Now you're going to
minus 6, though. You're not getting 5.5.
Oh, I saw minus 5.5. Okay, minus 6. Willie, you don't see 5.5 there?
Skills podcast, he says 6. 6 looks like the number.
Fine. It doesn't even matter. The Redskins are so bad. This team is just horrendous on defense. And now you're going to have the Broncos' vicious defense Broncos minus 6. I know it's a lot of points to lay on the road, but, to me, there's probably not going to be a lot of points in this game. I just, if in doubt, go against the Redskins.
Remember this moment in the MegaPod. If I win the MegaPod this year with the best record, remember this moment that Todd got bullied out of a pick into picking against the Skins.
Well, I mean, Brent, it's Brent. The guy, he hung out with Jimmy the Greek. You gotta take that seriously.
Willie, your last one?
I don't love a third one. I'm between like 3 or 4 different games. I'm just going to be a square ball here. I'll lay, what is it, 10 with the Rams?
10, let's see. 10 and a half, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
I'm going to win by 30. That's a good pick.
You know what? Todd's going to talk me into it. I'll take the Rams. I just think that Young is not a good quarterback. The Rams are going to put up their 27, 30 points, probably get a couple turnovers here. Again, I don't love laying this many points on the road, but Carolina doesn't have much home field advantage. This is, to me, is a mismatch. I think they win this game by 2 touchdowns. Rams minus the points.
I'm surprised you guys didn't land on this one. My third and last is the Seahawks minus. What is the Seahawks now? What is that one? 10.5. Yeah, went up a hook. I bet it at 10. It's actually 11, I think, now on the Seahawks.
I say 11.
11.5.
Yeah, I see 11.5.
11.5.
The disrespect for Max Brosmer is ridiculous.
Yeah. I'm still taking I'm still laying the 11.5. The Vikings not only don't have McCarthy, and I don't know McCarthy to Brosmer if that's even a downgrade, but Christian Darrisaw and Donovan Jackson on the line. That's the whole left side of your line, and they're hurting there. They're out. Or diminished, even if they're going. I'm not sure if they've been completely ruled out, but that seems like a huge problem for the Vikings either way. Seahawks are spectacular in bringing pressure. I am laying the 11.5 with the Seahawks in that game against the Vikings on Sunday. This is moving as we speak.
You know what kept me off of it, Gilly? I thought about taking Seattle too. Sam Darnold against Brian Flores, and Flores knows Darnold from practice. Flores bring pressure. That's the only thing that kept me off of it, but you're probably on the right track.
It's a good call, though. It's a good call. I like the thinking. All right. Teaser of the week. 2-leg, 6-point teaser. Favorite of the week. By the way, let me just say this. With Survivor, too, if anyone is in Circa Survivor, 900 entries left. Thanksgiving and Black Friday is its own week. This is going to be amazing because most entries, right, most folks have saved for the Eagles and to some extent for the Ravens. So this is either going to be complete carnage or business as usual. Mm-hmm. We'll see. And then they'll move on to Sunday, Monday. But I have a feeling, I do believe that there's a percentage. If you believe, let's pick a number. If you believe that 75% of the entries are going to be on the Eagles, you ought to be thinking about playing that opposite then. Because if we did the thought exercise that 99% were going to be on one team, how many times in your life do you get a chance to win $18 million? Then you would obviously play the other time. If you knew that. Of course, you don't know that. But what's the threshold? What's the percentage on one team that you're obligated to go the other way? I'm not sure it's this case. And it's also easy for me to say it in theory versus doing it in the moment if I was involved.
Is that the value of each ticket right now
Over
at 18 or is it over 20?
Over 20,000. Oh, just shy of 21,000.
Oh, you absolutely should lay it up.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. That's getting up there.
Yeah.
Well, why not?
It's going to be fascinating. Favorite 2-leg 6-point teaser, Brent, is?
Okay, let's take the Texans, obviously, up to 10.5 against the Colts, and let's take the Jaguars down to -0.5 in Nashville against the Titans.
I'm worried about the Jaguars in that
too.
game.
I thought about taking the Titans. Who the hell wants to do that again?
My spider senses are tingling.
Well, wait a minute. If I don't do that.
don't let me chuck you.
Yeah, don't let me talk out of it.
I listen to you guys. And so let's, what the hell? Let's take the Chargers down to 3.
Okay.
Against the Ravens.
There you go.
Wait,
Okay.
so he's taking LA Chargers -3 with who?
Raiders.
Raiders
or Texans, you said?
No, that was the first one. The Texans against Indy.
Okay.
Okay. That goes up to 10.5.
Okay.
And you guys talked me out of the Jaguars, so I substituted the Chargers.
Chargers against the Raiders. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Texans, Chargers. Yeah.
Okay.
So Texans to 10.5 then, Todd.
Okay, I got it.
Got it. Toddy, what's yours?
I do want to go with the Jaguars. I just don't believe in this Titans team. I'm going to take the Jaguars at -0.5, and I'm going to put it with the Broncos pick'em because again, I think the Redskins stink.
Hey, you're losing that one. You're so losing that teaser.
By the way, we've been really hot on teasers. I don't know if people, but we started off destructively, but I think we've all won our last 4 in a row.
I think every long leg got home last week too. Anyone you even thought, even like the Patriots on the road, so it's not the one, but Patriots, Packers, 49ers, the Falcons up. There was like 6 or 7 of them. They all got home pretty sweat-free.
Can you find 11 to 10 anymore in Vegas on a 6-point team?
No.
You got to go offshore.
I have one out that is 11 to 10, and one that's 12 to 10. Outside of that, it's not even rampantly offshore.
You have a couple 11 to 10, Gilly.
I do have a couple?
Yeah.
I thought one was 12.
You got a couple -110 options.
Okay. I have a couple 11 to 10s. But yes, offshore, Brett. Nothing here.
Interesting.
Yeah. Vegas, as the old schoolers will tell you said you can't play teasers anymore in this town.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
You also can't play baseball, they say, too. There's no dime lines anymore.
That's right. They disappeared.
Some teams saying they're up to 135, 140 on two team 6-point teasers. That's the standard. 135, 140. That's quite the jump.
And there's some that are higher.
Oh my goodness.
It's insane, man. It's insane.
It's just a big red stop sign, a big red stoplight saying don't bet these, basically.
Don't bet these. What's yours, Will?
Eagles, Ravens, easy peasy, hopefully. What could go wrong?
Eagles to...
Yeah, both down to 1.
Eagles down to 1, -1, and then who? Ravens, you said?
Yeah.
I'm going Eagles and I'm going Seahawks. And I know the Seahawks is not a wonger, and I know that takes away my card, but I'm sorry.
Eagles.
Vikings.
You're going Eagles -1 with Seahawks down to 5.5?
Yes, sir. That's what I'm doing.
Seattle
through the 10 and
-5.5.
Vikings money line.
All right, final 2 questions of each and every Megapod since its inception. Here we go. Brent, which of the big favorites, I will give you the candidates here, which of the big favorites is the most likely, in your opinion, to lose outright? I come to you from the future and I say, hey, this team lost. Who is it? Here are your candidates. It is, on Thanksgiving Day, the Ravens, who are 7-point favorites hosting the Bengals. The Eagles, Black Friday, 7-point favorites hosting the Bears. We also have the Jaguars, 6.5-point favorites on the road against the Titans. They're a candidate. Rams, 10.5-point favorites on the road against the Panthers. Dolphins, got to include them, 6-point favorites hosting the Saints. And then the 49ers don't count anymore, so they're out. They're not part of this. Seahawks, 11.5-point favorites hosting the Vikings. And finally, the Chargers, 10-point favorites hosting the Raiders. Yes, we'll throw in the Broncos as well. 6-point favorites on the road against Washington. And the Patriots. Oh, my God, they continue. And the Patriots, 7.5-point favorites hosting the Giants. Which of the big favorites is the most likely to lose outright, in your opinion?
Ravens.
I, too, select the Ravens. I'm with Brent. Todd?
I probably, before I say that, I want to ask one other thing. You asked Brent what his favorite memories of all the years, and he said NFL Today. What I want to ask him is he's done a ton of play-by-play of probably thousands of games. I don't know how many games you actually did, Brent, as a play-by-play. What is your favorite game that you did play-by-play in your annals of history?
Great question.
Well, it would be a toss-up because they get replayed. The Doug Flutie game.
Oh, my God. I was going to guess you were going to say that. I cannot believe you just said that. I was going to guess you were going to say that. Go ahead. Sorry.
There's so many stories involved, Todd, with that one. Flutie in Boston College. It was on Black Friday, day after Thanksgiving, down in Miami in the old Orange Bowl. Okay. Playing the Hurricanes, coached by Jimmy Johnson. And everybody knows what happened with the miracle throw down into the end zone. And a couple of stories. First of all, I didn't know who caught it. Okay. If you go back and listen, Flutie, I don't believe it, Boston College, blah, 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 like usual screaming play-by-play man. But I had a Boston College graduate in the truck, and he pulled the key back and told me. And it later turned out Flutie didn't know who caught the ball. He's going up the tunnel, and he says to his center, who caught it? And he said, Doug, it was your roommate who caught it, okay? And so they all laughed about that. Now, Jimmy Johnson, I later said, Jimmy, you had a penalty before the winning touchdown. Why'd you change the defense? Why'd the corners back off? And you didn't press up at the line. I said, I'm just kind of curious. He said, Brent, do you remember the old Orange Bowl? I said, yeah, sure. One elevator, wait in line. My defensive coordinator thought the game was over. It was in the elevator. And then Jimmy looked at me and he said, and Brent, that's my ex-defensive coordinator.
Who was it? Wannstedt? Was it Wannstedt?
It could have been. It could have been.
The receiver was Gerard Phelan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. In the end.
I didn't know who it was.
Yeah.
Now, Brent, I want to guess the color man. I'm going to guess here. Ara Parsegian?
Was he your color guy for that game?
Yeah. It would either be Ara. No, that was Ara.
It was Ara Parsegian.
Yeah. Ara. Oh, my.
Former Notre Dame coach.
Great guy. He was at Northwestern when I went there. He coached Irv Cross.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Can I guess another one of your play-by-play memories? Can I guess a tie with that one? I can. Mm-hmm. I have a guess.
Go ahead.
1976 Celtics Suns.
Game 5. Friday night. So this series, Boston wins the first 2 games. We go down to Phoenix. Suns evened it up. Okay. We go back to Boston, and my friend, Red Auerbach, was blistering not his team, the broadcasters, okay? Oh, we're Homer. We were pulling for the Suns. It was a terrible broadcast. Musberger must get paid by Phoenix, blah, 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 blah. We get to the stadium, and there's all kinds of people waiting for the car that drops us off, and they're booing us. A couple guys even throw, it's Friday night. It's late, and it's pay night in Boston, baby, down by the pubs. So I go up to Red. I said, Red, what the hell? What are you doing? And he said, Brent, don't worry about it. I just wanted the fans to get ready for game 5. This is the one. I just want to fire up our fan base. Don't worry about it. Nothing personal. So I go down. Rick Barry and Mendy Rudolph were the 2 analysts. And Rick Barry goes into the Suns locker room to hide from the screaming fans as they came. And Mendy Rudolph goes to the officials' locker room to hide out. Okay, there I am. The security had to break 2 Boston fans off who tried to get at me down by the desk. They were so angry, thinking we had pulled hard for the Suns. And then, of course, the triple overtime. Celtics thought they'd won it once. They clear the floor. And Havlicek's shot was ruled after the clock had expires. They bring him back, play the 3rd overtime. Garfield Hurd almost sends it to a 4th overtime with a moonshot from midcourt. And later I told Auerbach, we were both laughing about it, the whole experience. I said, Red, you're damn right. I was pulling for Phoenix because I was getting paid by the game, buddy. So, it was a memorable game.
And the temperature of the Boston Garden is roughly what?
120. He would never have any air conditioning in there.
It's amazing.
All air back. Yeah, I mean, he was a game player all the time. I mean,
That's phenomenal.
What a character. I was with him actually at lunch one time when he offered Bobby Knight the coaching job of the Celtics. Okay.
Wow.
And Bobby looked across the table at him and said, Red, I couldn't win in the NBA. I couldn't put up with the nonsense that you people do. It was interesting. He and Red were very, very good friends. We tried to hire him one day back in the era. And there was nobody quite. I'll tell you another good friend of Red's was Will McDonough, Sean's father, legendary newspaper man with the Boston Globe. And so the scoops would go head to head for my buddy Will. Jimmy the Greek used to read Will every Sunday because he had good gossip that he could use. And Will calls me one night. He said, "You tell the Greek I'm going to come down and kick his ass if he doesn't quit stealing my stuff and putting it on the NFL Today." Oh, mercy. And later, after the Greek leaves us, we bring Will in. And, he becomes our insider expert. And great memories. Yeah, Boston. The Pittsburgh guy talked about the loyalty. But the fiercest fans in this country reside in Boston and Philadelphia. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to tell you right now, you get on the wrong side of that group, and either one of them. The Pittsburgh fans are just extremely loyal. But you don't mess with fans in Boston and Philadelphia. Those are the two mainstay cities.
Yeah. Better than Chicago and New York? Bigger sports fans?
Well, they're more focused.
Yeah.
Okay. There's so many things going on in, especially New York, that if a team starts to lose, forget about it.
Yeah.
Team starts to lose in Boston, let's march on them.
Yes.
It's a big difference. Okay.
That's for sure.
Brent, can I give you a game? It's one of my, probably the most painful game you call that I can remember for me.
Go ahead.
I'm a Yankee fan. Sunday night, Game 5, the Yankees win the first two games. This is the first year of the divisional series. Yankees win Game 1 at home, Game 2 at home. The next 3 are in Seattle. I think the Yankees had a 6-0 lead in like the second or third inning and had a lead in extra innings. And then Edgar Martinez with the walk-off against, I think it was Jack McDowell who came in, and the Mariners eliminated the Yankees. A painful, painful memory. I remember literally being in tears. I was like 10, 11 years old. I was heartbroken by that game.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of Al Michaels did the first couple of games, and he was going someplace else. Something they'd asked me to do because I'd done radio. So they had Jim Cott.
He was great, by the way. Great.
Yeah. Jimmy was great to work with. And I can still see that dash for home by Griffey. He took off at the crack of that bat. And I saw him at second base, past second. And I said, he's coming all the way. He's not stopping and make any difference what the third base coach is going to do. They still, it was a great memory up in, I played at the Dome, King Dome, that night. And, yeah, it was. I can see that. It would be painful if you were a Yankee fan, but nothing had to be more painful than this year. For you, right?
They've had a couple. They've had Game 7. I think the worst one still when they were going for 4 in a row, and Mariano threw the ball into the outfield and gave up the little dink hit, and they blew the lead.
Jim Cott, by the way, if you're ever on United Airlines and you're poking at your TV in front of you, there's a great Jim Cott documentary.
Really?
That I believe he produced himself, if I'm not mistaken.
Interesting.
Really good.
I covered him as a newspaper man.
Yeah.
With the White Sox playing the Twins. A hell of a competitor. Okay. One of the great fielding pitchers that I've ever been around. It's interesting. The way they throw now, they throw so hard that they're a little bit off balance. But back in that day, the style of pitching, you actually tried to stay in games for 6 and 7 innings. Mm-hmm. Now, get out there and throw as hard as you can for as long as you can. We're going to the bullpen. That's probably the biggest change with baseball. It also makes it a little difficult to bet and a little difficult to follow, okay? Because the bullpens have become so important.
That's why I got out of betting baseball.
I'm telling you, it's amazing. I watch it, and it's still remarkable that the Dodgers won it all with as bad a bullpen as they had. And fortunately, they were able to sick those starters out there in Game 7 and use them, bring them in. But, games change.
Game has changed. As soon as starting pitching, the average length of game that they played started to shrink. Mm-hmm. We're talking about like 2015, 2016-ish in there. And then even some of these teams start with an opener. Forget a starter. There's an opener that goes to another person in the bullpen.
Exactly.
Then it's harder as a handicapper to wrap your arms around.
Yeah, exactly. I remember the old days when the starters would go 6. I mean, we were always looking at what those starters had done the last 3 games.
Of course.
You know, were they coming in hot? What's their record against this team? And now you can kind of throw that stuff out to tell you the truth.
That's right.
Jim Cott had a great line. He said, when you're a lefty and you don't throw hard, they call you crafty. When you're a righty and you don't throw hard, they call you coach. Basically meaning you're out of the league.
See, he was great. And he was. I will also tell you that when you were a newspaper man, you went down to the locker room, win or lose, he was a great interview. He always sat there and waited for the out-of-town writers to come in and get the quotes. And of course, I worked for an afternoon paper, so that's I made a living getting quotes from guys and going out and work in the locker rooms, and it was great.
Jim Cott, who got to 280 wins, I believe, never quite got to 3.
Is that right? Is that what he wound up with?
280, I believe. It was, couldn't quite. If you ever looked at his baseball card, though, man, he played for so long, you needed a microscope.
3 or
to look
4
at
decades. I don't know. I forget which, but he was like from like maybe late 50s to early 80s, something crazy like that.
Yeah. You guys you didn't answer the question. Big favorite, most likely to lose outright.
I don't
you guys?
trust Trevor Lawrence. I'll go Jags.
I'll go Ravens also.
Yeah, 3 of us on the Ravens. And then the final question, Brent.
Yes.
Let's say we lived in a bizarro world and you were forced to bet a side on every one of these games this week, but you were given one free pass, one game that you want no part of whatsoever on the spread. What game is that?
I'm going to take the Raiders and the Chargers just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I probably, because I'm closer to the Raiders and Harbaugh. Jimmy, go way back with him. I mean, I didn't even think about it. There's several up there that I don't want any part of. I found it interesting that Will took the Jets because I've been really thinking about that game, and the Falcons back-to-back road can be a little bit tricky, and I agree with him that the Jets may get their first interception this week. I think that's kind of interesting, and he may have pointed me towards the Falcons and the leagues that I'm in. I honestly might stay away from the Packers and the Lions. I don't know that I trust either of them that much. I find the Packers are overrated, and then I think, well, maybe the Lions are overrated. But if the Packers don't stop Gibbs, it's turn out the lights.
That's right.
I mean, it's pretty simple.
He's incredible. They figured out Detroit finally with the shared carries. Finally, they've realized maybe we should just give Gibbs the ball more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When I would go to Montgomery, honestly, if I had a 1st and 10 about the 7 or 8 yard line, I'd put him in there. Okay. But outside of that, I was impressed with what the Browns did inside the 10.
Yeah.
Last week against the Raiders. I thought it was very smart. There are so many bad quarterbacks around the league. It's really a troublesome league right now, I think.
It really is true that there's 32 jobs. You would think that there are 32 competent folks to fill those positions.
Absolutely.
And it's not even close to 32.
Not close.
Yeah. Game you want no part of, Todd?
I'm going with a game I want no part of. I guess I want no part of the Raiders and Chargers. I don't know. I can't. I don't want Chargers minus 10.5, and obviously I don't want Raiders, so I don't want any part of that.
Willie?
Bills laying 3.5 on the road. I'm not a big fan of how they're playing. I think they are fatally flawed defensively. I'm not looking to back the Steelers. That's a pretty easy stay away from me. Thought about going Giants Patriots. I don't love that one either, but I'll go Bills Steelers as a stay away from me.
I think it's Saints Dolphins for me.
That was the one. Yeah, that's a good one.
I mean, Dolphins 6-point favorite. Should they be a 6-point favorite over anybody?
It'd be fun to watch, though.
Oh, if you didn't have a bet on that, how much would I have to pay you to watch every play of that game? Saints Dolphins. No money, no action.
Can I eat during it? I can use your money to buy food. Just buy a lot of food and eat during it.
No food allowed.
Gilly, I'm hearing something right now. Oh yeah, here it is. Lions lead, 6 seconds left, 27-24. They're at their own 11-yard line. There's only 6 seconds left. I wonder what they're going to do here. 4th down. You got to wonder, Jim, do you think they might run out of the end zone for a safety? Let's see. They snap the ball. Wait, Goff's going to go. He's going to run backwards into his end zone. The Lions are going to win by 1, and the people that had the Lions at -2.5 are going to cry all Thanksgiving. Oh, my God.
It's his way of jinxing me.
That's awesome.
That's what he does. I ask you some question, some form of this every time. Where do you think doing a podcast with my friend Todd ranks in your career achievements? Where do you think that is?
Right near the top.
Right near the top.
It's
Toddy.
right below the Air Parsegian Doug Flutie throw.
We've done all we could do. Brent, we cannot, I'll speak for all of us. We can't thank you enough. Thanks again for doing this.
Enjoyed my guys. And Will and Todd have talked me into games and gave me a little bit of an education today. And I appreciate that, guys. I appreciate it a lot. And, of course, Gill, it's always nice to be with you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes.
To everyone and the crew that puts this up. Wonderful studio at the Wynn. And,
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Brian and John Goulet. Jeremiah's not here today. Arlene, your lovely wife, for sitting patiently here in front of us. We didn't even mention off camera here.
Arlene's like,
very nice.
You're looking live at the person that keeps the Musberger family together.
For sure, Todd. She does that.
For sure. And on that note, thank you to Todd. Thank you to Willie. Thank you for watching and listening, and good luck with all your bets in Week 13, and happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. Thank you for listening.